Hello, I'm Joe,
And TJ?
and we are the Schoolhouse 302. And this is our Read This series where we feature excellent books on the topic that we're focused on for the month. And this month, we are totally about support. And the books we're going to feature, you will not be disappointed in. Read This series is a part of our One Thing podcast and series where we want to get you to lead better and grow faster. So ultimately, when it comes down to support, it's about people and you supporting them in ways that help them thrive, not just survive, but thrive. And we have some great books. I'm going to turn it over to TJ, and he's going to introduce our first book.
Yo, I'm so excited to introduce this first book. You know, I love this book. It's
I
the
know it.
basis. It's the basis for a lot of what we've talked about in candid and compassionate feedback, for what's in the virtual masterclass, for the way that we've set up our model for specific praise. It's called The Carrot Principle. Every school leader should read this book. Subtitle: How the Best Managers Use Recognition to Engage Their People, Retain Talent, and Accelerate Performance. Here's the thing about supporting people. One of the number one ways that people feel supported is when they feel like their contributions to the team are recognized. They feel like they're on the team and that the team, and specifically the leader, recognizes their contributions. It's not just a way to go. It's very specific. It's the way that this member of the team is contributing. It's the difference that they're making. It's educators want to feel that every day that they come to work. The carrot principle describes that. Here's the problem, though. Lots of leaders are still very, very skeptical about using praise and using recognition as a tool. And that's a shame, right? And then the second problem is that leaders who do use praise, a lot of times their words fall short. They're either ambiguous with their words, they're not specific enough about the contribution that's actually being made. And so that's why we teach the models that we teach, Joe and I, when we're out and about with our candid and compassionate feedback book. But the basis of it is the research around why it works. And I think that that's what leaders need right now, is knowing why it works and how it works is the first step to doing it well and doing it consistently and doing it often for your people. Get The Carrot Principle by Adrian Gostick and Chester Elton. You can't go wrong with this book. I could talk about this book, Joe, for like an hour.
Easy. And you have to me, maybe not today, but you definitely have to me.
It's a fun book. It's a good book. It just tells you, I love it because it tells you the research, and then it's this one thing that everybody has access to and can do well, celebrating the people. We baked it right into our rep survey because it's so important. And here we have it.
And you
Get
know
the
what I
book.
love, TJ, is you don't say the carrot principle. Oh, and by the way, here's the stick. Like I like that. Like when you first introduced me to that book, it's not, both of those. It's about the carrot. And as you said, the carrot's a lot of times what we get wrong and we default to the stick.
So true. It's so true. And, as you find about recognition and motivating people and retaining talent, it is what they call the performance accelerators. And we've called them retention accelerators. And it's just a super, super important skill. And it's a skill. That's the other thing about celebrating people and learning from books like The Carrot Principle. Feedback is a skill. If we want to be better at it, we have to practice it, and we have to study it, and we have to learn, and we have to professionally develop ourselves. It's not a natural thing. It's a skill. Like you and I always say, candor is a skill, but candor also goes with celebrating people and praising them. You have to be direct so people feel that you understand their impact. All right. Yeah,
Absolutely. Like
I know you have a book to share too. I could talk about The Carrot Principle, but you go.
this one I love. This is by Christopher Lee, and I like it for a lot of the same reasons that you like the carrot principle. This book is called Performance Conversations. This is not a book about appraisals. In fact, he talks about feedback in this book in the light of it's not an appraisal. And so I really do appreciate this book. And this really is within the realm of human resources. That's how I first was introduced to this piece by Christopher Lee. And it is about how to use questions. This whole book is about questionings so you listen, therefore you can lead better. And so he talks about performance conversations methods. And like you said, TJ, it's a skill. He introduces us to a formula and three techniques you have to master: inquiry, quote, coaching, and then positive mindset. Very similar to what you just described in the carrot principle. But what I love about this is questions are talked about as a tool in this book, a tool. Just as a carpenter has a hammer, the leader has questions. But there's also some other key features I love. He has a continuum of support model in this that goes from supervisory to coaching to mentoring to sponsoring. And I haven't really seen that before. Even in education, we tend to just stay at like the coaching spot. And he brings that further. And then he anchors the whole book with what he refers to as the Magnificent Seven. No, not the incredible Western that many of us love, but this is the seven magnificent questions you must ask. And these questions are not to be deviated from. He makes that clear. He does give alternates, but master the seven first. And I'm not going to give you all of them, TJ, but it goes from what is going well, what's not going well. Then it gets into like, how's your goals? How are you reaching them? Are you instituting your action plan? And then ultimately ends up with a how are you? And I like that because he discusses how that's not just a flippant question. Truly, genuinely ask how people are. I love it. It's a great book, and you won't be disappointed because he gives you actual questions that you can memorize.
And I love that too because it's the from a conceptual standpoint, it's awesome, but from an action standpoint, going from a mentor to a sponsor, help not just cultivating people and their skills and their ability, but also helping them within their career and their aspirations, the person that they want to bring to work every day. That's an interesting take on how we can help other people, support them, and recognize them. Great book. And I know you're always focused on questioning. That's something that you love as a leader, and it is something that's another skill. Asking questions is a skill, and learning to do that using models and examples is really important. Do you have a reading tip this time?
I do, TJ. The tip actually comes from this book, but it made me think that when we're choosing books, that the tip is make sure that they're diverse and they're actually meeting those that represent your organization, the diversity in your organization. And one thing about performance conversations that I love, he has a whole section on millennials. And I think that's important because it's not about just asking questions, but make sure you're tailoring your questions to those in the organization. So, how you may ask questions to a boomer might be different and should be different than those to a millennial. And he talks about that. Now, granted, it's a little bit of an overgeneralization, but I really like how he digs into that and talks about the difference from feedback to feed forward and what that means to a millennial. That's important. That's very important from a leadership perspective, and especially under the umbrella of human resources. So that's the tip. Find books that speak to the diversity in your organization.
Great tip. It's one that we hope you'll use. There you heard it again on our Read This series. We always like it when you subscribe, follow, like, share at the schoolhouse302.com for books to read, blogs, podcasts, and more. We'll see you next time on Read This.